The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Planted with Sara Payan. I'm Sara Payan, your host, and this is a very special episode before the election. I have the honor of welcoming back Congresswoman Barbara Lee of California, co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, and we have a lot to talk about today in a very brief amount of time. So welcome, Congresswoman. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you. Glad to be with you.
And over 27 years serving California, I just want to thank you for that and for everything that you've done to further the cause for cannabis legalization and decriminalization.
Oh, no option. This is important from a variety of perspectives. And I've been working on this for many years, as you know, and co-chair of the Cannabis Caucus. And it's been a real opportunity to at least get us to this point, because this is a historic moment. But I intend to keep forging ahead even after Congress. So it's going to be a new chapter for me, and I'm going to stay the course.
I am so glad, because I just talked to Congressman Blumenauer recently, and he said the exact same thing. And the two of you have been fighting for our rights for so long. I know that, like you said, you're going to be continuing to fight the good fight. But a question I have for you is, where do you see the Congressional Cannabis Caucus going without the leadership of the both of you?
I think we have many members in Congress who first are members of the Cannabis Caucus, but also who see this as a priority. And just because Earl and I won't be there does not mean that other members have not embraced these issues in a way that is going to take us forward. And so we're in the process now of talking to members who want to carry certain bills. Of course, Chairman to-be, again, Nadler, is very supportive. I mean, we included my Marijuana Justice Act, which was one of the first bills introduced in Congress, along with Senator Booker in the Senate. That is included in the MORE Act, and so I think it's important to get that passed, and we have Democrats and Republicans in place to pass it. So I'm excited about this next chapter, and you know, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and we have to continue to fight and pass the baton and keep at it until it's done.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I think a lot of us are starting to get a little separation anxiety anticipating the two of you leaving.
Oh no! Don't do that. You know, as we climb, climb the ladder, and whatever we're doing, we have to make sure that there are those that we lift up. And so I'm confident that we have some really wonderful members who will pick this and take this baton and move it forward.
Oh, that's good to know. The vice president had announced her plans for legalization the other week. What are your thoughts on that?
I am so glad that she did announce it publicly, because we have been fighting for legalization forever, as you know. And I've worked the last election trying to get legalization into the Democratic Party platform. We could not quite get there. We got to, expungement, and we got to issues around equity and around decrim, but not legalization. So this is a major deal, and I hope people listen to what she said about that. You know, she was one of the sponsors of the MORE Act when she was in the Senate. And she understands the equity issues, but she also understands the criminal justice issues and the fact that this has unjustly incarcerated so many Black and brown people. And I believe that she's going to move forward to make sure that her promise is kept. And that's a big deal. And again, elections matter. So I have to take this opportunity to say, please, 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 let's get to the ballot. Let's get to the polls. Cast your ballot for Harris and Walz, because we know under Donald Trump, who is just out there on in terms of him taking away our freedoms, he will go in the opposite direction. He's going to take us backwards on cannabis, and Kamala Harris will take us forward. So there should be a clear distinction in everyone's mind that one is not as good as the other, and that it's got to be Kamala Harris if we're going to go for legalization.
Yeah, absolutely. People need to remember that voting is our superpower. It does matter. And in this election in particular, this is not a partisan election. This is about keeping democracy alive. And when we talk about the vice president, I remember when she was DA, because that's when I was working at Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And I remember her Back on Track program really getting people to understand that she was always looking for avenues to give people second chances and uplift them. A lot of the things that have been said about her and cannabis have been very, very untrue. She has been very supportive, and to be the first presidential candidate to actually talk publicly about this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And listen to her opportunity, or look at her opportunity agenda in terms of just making sure the cost of living is decreased for everyone, cost of housing, the cost of prescription drugs, the cost of gasoline. And when you look at that combined with a lot of the other initiatives that she has put forth, housing, for example, $25,000 support for a down payment. When you look at loan for, $20,000 specifically for Black men targeted for entrepreneurships. When you look at legalization of cannabis, it's a very, very comprehensive agenda that will really create equity and justice and opportunity, and so many policies that she will champion, of course, with the Democratic House and the Democratic Senate. And we can't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And switching gears just a little bit, descheduling. I know that you had a descheduling campaign. What do you think is going to happen with that? Because I know we're looking at rescheduling, and there are people in the industry that are worried about the complications around that. Congressman Blumenauer said that, there are established frameworks already that it won't cause complications. But do you think that we could make the next step to descheduling in the future?
Well, Earl and I are very good, close friends, and what I'm concerned about is rescheduling, because once we reschedule, how do we get to legalization? And if our goal is legalization, this step forward is a good step forward, but it may stop the complete efforts for legalization. And that's what I'm concerned about, because legalization ensures that states do not charge people with marijuana crimes, especially those that have passed legalization. And so descheduling, good first step, but I have to look at the long-term effects, and I'm concerned that it could stop a movement toward legalization.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people are worried about that. And, it's one thing to have gone to Schedule 3 if we were still just a medicinal use, but because we are, in adult use, and, the fact of the matter is lots of us are working in this industry while we still have people that are in jail, and that's a priority.
Yeah. And look at this. What if, descheduling, going to Schedule 3 is solidly in the regs. And then Kamala Harris, our new president, is fighting for legalization. What do we have to do? Unravel Schedule 3? And I don't even know how that would work.
Yeah, I wonder about that myself. Do you think that she would reinstate the Cole memo?
I haven't talked with her about that, but I would think that she would.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that this non-interference in state legal cannabis operations is essential in terms of just, the freedom to establish, states, and I hate to say states' rights, but this is more of about people deciding their own laws as it relates to, how to democratize certain industries. And so go into Schedule 3, I don't know how that's going to work, if in fact around the Cole memo as well as around legalization, if we're in Schedule 3. I'm sure there's been some who have looked at this, but I don't want any impediments to legalization. When you have a president that's talking about a presidential candidate, soon to be president, if we do our work, legalization, let's remove every obstacle for her and go straight to legalization.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that partisan politics will get in the way of legalization? Because it seems like we've been, for all of the work that you've been doing through the years on this, it seems like there have definitely been some roadblocks that have slowed it down. And one thing, I'd had a conversation with Michael Steele several months ago, and he was mentioning the fact that if Republicans actually said how they felt about legalization or even admitted to, enjoying cannabis, it would be a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, many are disingenuous and won't tell the truth about anything. So we have to recognize that's a fact. But again, that's why we need a democratically controlled House with a Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, who was really involved in helping to put together the MORE Act. And also, we have to have the Senate. Of course, we have Senator Booker and others over in the Senate. And so, yes, we've got to work in a bipartisan way, but leadership is really important, and Democratic leadership is key to getting these bills passed.
Absolutely.
And in terms of legalization.
Absolutely. And when we're looking at policy, especially policies in the states, a lot of the policies aren't working the way they're supposed to be. And it seems like a lot of it is still based on stigma and an outdated view of who the average cannabis user is. So here at Planted, one of the things that we talk a lot about is just really critical thinking, getting involved, and having people actually talk about the fact that they contribute to society, they pay taxes, they use cannabis, and they vote, so that the people who depend on their votes for their jobs start seeing cannabis users as people that they need to start crafting reasonable policy for those cannabis users out there who are voters. What would you tell them as far as action to get involved and to get their voices heard and to be able to push for better regulations in their states?
Yeah, I would tell them everything is political, and if you think that you can dodge that, you have another, thing coming. This is a democracy. It's supposed to work by including people, the voices of people at all levels of government. The only way your voice is going to be heard is making sure you elect people who are going to hear you. And so this is about organizing, not only during elections, but in between elections, holding your elected officials accountable, being vigilant. I say stay woke. In between elections, don't let, first of all, get involved in politics and elections and not only vote, but help organize, help do phone banking, help raise money, help do everything that it takes to elect good candidates. But then once you elect them, don't just say, well, we'll wait till the next election. You have to watch their record. You have to stay in touch with their staff. You have to organize. You have to be in their office. You have to have a Washington, representative. You have to do a lot to stay engaged. This is how power is built in this country. And if you can't do that or won't do that, then it's hard to make sure that what you expect out of your government will be there, because they have not felt the burn. They have not felt the pressure. They have not heard from you at all.
Yeah. I think that people have been, well, I wish that we had more civics education in classes like we did when I went to school, because I don't think people understand how much power they actually have. And this is a time where people have felt greatly disempowered. And I hope with this new administration, and I'm going to say it, when we have President Kamala Harris, that people start to feel empowered to get involved and to have their voices heard.
They've got to, because when she is sworn in as president, I can assure you that the powerful and the rich will be raising their voices in a way that they expect to raise them, because they've been supportive. And I'm not talking about the billionaire class or the corporate sector, but I'm talking about people with money, people who expect to be heard. Yeah. And so people power is extremely important to candidate, Senator Vice President Kamala Harris. And so people power is as effective as money. And we have to do both. So I would wisdom after being involved in politics. I worked for a member of Congress, Ron Dellums, who was great on these issues. I started working with Normal in the 70s and 80s. That was 11 years, then 7.5 in the legislature and 26 in Congress. And that's a long time. And I've seen how this works, and I know how it works. And it doesn't work for people who don't want to be engaged.
Right. Yeah, engagement is key. You can't be afraid of it. Your voice is more important than you give yourself credit for, and for the average citizen. And it's how it all works.
Elevate your brand with iSpire, the global leader in vape technology with over 1,000 patents worldwide. Our innovative iSpire 1 simplifies your process with self-sealing hardware and automated filling. No capping, no hassle. For brands ready to go to market, our iSpire signature devices offer premium, customizable solutions. And as proud members of NCAA, NORML, the Origins Council, and the Women's Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, iSpire is committed to advocacy and social justice. Learn more today at getispire.com.
You're still there. You're still doing all of your great work. What are you working on now before you leave Congress?
Oh boy, quite a bit. Trying to get the authorization to use military force repealed, because these authorizations are old. I voted against, the only one who voted against the Afghanistan authorization in 2001, and we still have the Iraq authorization on the books. So trying to repeal those. Working on a congressional gold medal for Shirley Chisholm, who was the first Black woman elected to Congress and to be and to run as a presidential candidate. I have enough Republicans now on board to get the bill to the floor. I'm working with Senator Butler on that. Hopefully we'll be able to do that by her 100th birthday, which would have been November 30th. Working on issues around HIV and AIDS, trying to get a 5-year extension to the global efforts to end AIDS by 2030. I worked with President Bush on that, and we've saved 25 million lives, and we need to get a 5-year extension, and there's some right-wingers in Congress who are trying to hold up progress. And also on housing issues, affordable housing is a big issue, and I've got issues with HUD and with my district that I'm trying to, bring home funding for and work on housing policy as a human right. And there's so many issues I'm still working on and will continue even after I leave Congress to work on. But, of course, finally, I'll just say calling for a ceasefire and a path to peace and security for the Palestinians and the Israelis. I'm on the Appropriations Committee, the committee that funds all of our international development and diplomacy work. I was the chair of that committee until Republicans took over. Now I'm the ranking member, and I'm using every bit of my time to try to get the administration and to get the key players in the region to really come to grips with the ceasefire and enact a ceasefire, get the humanitarian assistance in, release the hostages, and find a path to peace and security in the Middle East. So that's a big deal for me that I've been working on actually before last October.
Oh, thank you for that. And I remember in 2001, you were the only one who stood up against it. And I was living in San Francisco at that point in time. I am now one of your constituents.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you spoke for me then, and it was a really, really scary time. And I just really want to thank you for everything that you've done, because, that saying, Barbara Lee speaks for me. I've really felt that through the years with you. And, just thank you for all of your work to make this place a more just world where people can have homes and be safe and not worry about persecution and prosecution for things that shouldn't be illegal.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you so much. It's been an honor representing you, and thank you for your support and my great congressional district. I still say the 12th congressional district is the most progressive, the most enlightened, the most diverse congressional district in the country. We have many challenges, but I have seen over the years how people come together to meet those challenges. And we've led on so many issues. When you look at the green economy and on climate and on so many issues around justice, sometimes my constituents think that they're on an island unto themselves. No one's listening. But when you look at how they lead, how their voices and how stepping out there with the vision becomes mainstream. That's happened over and over and over again as a result of the 12th Congressional District. So thank you all very much. And I'm not going anywhere, just opening a new chapter and forging ahead.
Yeah, thank you for always having a vision of the future and for taking good care of us. And for when you step down from your position in Congress, what will you do, and how can people reach out to you actually?
Oh, sure. I will, after this election, because I'm very focused on November 5th, we'll be talking about what's next, and it'll be very public, and people will know.
Wonderful. Thank you again, okay. Congresswoman. I know your time is valuable, and it's just a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for coming back. I know our listeners are going to be very excited to hear what you have to say, and I look forward to seeing what you do in the future, because you've always spoken for us, and you've just done so very much. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again. Really great talking with you. And thanks to everyone for everything. And keep at it, okay?
Thank you. Take care.
And like Jesse Jackson reminded us, keep hope alive.
Yes.
That's such an important, insightful slogan. And that's what we need right now, because we will win. Justice will win. And we have to just make it happen.
We do. Everybody out there, keep the faith, vote, don't listen to the noise. And
that's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. And everyone, remember, if you like listening, please give us a review, share it with a friend. Let us know what your favorite episodes are. And if you'd like to stay in touch over social media, we are Planted with Sara Payan on Facebook and Planted with Sara on Instagram and Twitter. You can also go to our website, www.plantedwithsara.com, or listen to us on our parent network, Radio Misfits Network, where there are other great podcasts, like one of my favorites, the Winemakers Podcast. So check it out. You can listen to Planted wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, whether that's Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn. We are there. So join us. And until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, it's a wild world out there. Be good to one another. Until next time, take care.